Hello, and welcome to Who's Your Neighbor? This is a weekly, you might call this a podcast. I don't know. Um, I'm Terry McGill. I'm in Portland, Oregon. And this whole concept, this show of Who's Your Neighbor, began about 25, 26, 27 weeks ago. I don't remember what episode we're on tonight. And it grew out of COVID and what people experienced because of COVID. And so the purpose of this show at the beginning was to bring about connection, inclusion, connectivity, because we didn't have it. And boy, did the world change. And we're still dealing with some of the issues that arose because, as you all know, as you've experienced, the COVID experience is still with us. I was in a hospital today taking a book over to a friend of a friend. And it's very evident when you go into a hospital. In fact, I don't have the same shirt on. I had they said, okay, they checked me for symptoms. They got the little thermometer they put on your forehead. Some hospitals do. And then I got the little stick-on thing on my shirt that said, okay, if any of the staff members see somebody without that thing, they escort you out of the hospital. So tonight, we're going to have a wonderful experience of a certified master teacher of the Dow Academy. Is that a mouthful or what? So our guest tonight has the ability to give remote healings. And in this instance, tonight, the guest and the demonstration person are probably 1,100 miles apart. So this is very interesting because people don't know that, number one, these so-called or so named or experienced miracle healings can be done not just in person. And they're without touch. Obviously, nobody's got to know. So who was it that could stretch his arm out forever? Rubberman or somebody from the comic book character from decades back, but he couldn't stretch his arm 1,100 miles. So they're called Dow Healing Hands blessings, and they can occur across the world. A couple of weeks ago, the person with the Dow Healing Hands was 2,800 miles away from the recipient, who, well, I'm not going to share anymore. Hang around and watch. So now I would like to introduce you to this person I've been speaking about. Howie, come on out. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I've heard about you, and I'm 1,100 miles away from you also. I'm up in Portland, Oregon, and you're in the Los Angeles area?
Yes, I am.
Uh-huh. Well, welcome to Who's Your Neighbor? And the interesting thing about this show was when we first started, I've 12, 15 episodes or more, there were people that I've known in the Portland community who do different kinds of healing. One of the most memorable to me is a library on a bicycle. They just got their second bicycle, specialized bicycle. It's a three-wheeled one, and it has a big box on the front. And they bring a library to the homeless. They go around to the different communities, and they pull up into the spot, and people get used to them. And the woman talked about her regulars. Unique way of serving. It's only been replicated in a couple of cities around the world. But what you have, the Dow Healing Hands, I heard that there may be 6,000 or 7,000 people with this ability around the world. Does that number sound about right?
That sounds about right. Yes, I'm actually a relatively new Dow Healing Hands practitioner. Um, we received this upliftment uh, from Master Shah. He's our spiritual master, and I met Master Shah or discovered him. I believe it was January or February of last year. Before that, I had no idea what this was, and I just kind of stumbled across it, and one thing led to another, and pretty soon I found myself getting certified as a practitioner. So it's been a strange, interesting journey for me.
So, in your experience since that certification, what has your and others' experience been? People that you shared this transmission with?
It can vary quite a bit, actually. So, for instance, lots of people in my family, we're not very sensitive to energy. So when I offer a blessing, it's kind of hit or miss. Some can feel it, some cannot. So it's challenging because if you can't feel it, you don't know it's actually working, and there are certain blockages that come up with that. But then when you can feel it, oh my gosh, just it could be life changing.
So, say that again when you're chanting.
Oh, when you can feel the energy
Uh-huh.
from these Dao Hands blessings, it can be life changing.
Even if they're not aware of it.
Even if it helps if they are aware of it. Otherwise, you're just kind of describing something that they can't really relate to. Uh, but that's one of the challenges. It still
I
does
can
work.
I can relate to that.
Yes.
If somebody is doing something that I call woo woo,
Yes.
and I have no appreciation of it, no, the understanding is mental. I need to have something
Yes.
that I can experience, and if I don't, my mind is going to block it out. There might be
Yes.
a shift that I just don't pay attention to. Have you experienced that with people?
I have actually. So my wife, she, I think, injured her shoulder at work, and she just I just offered her a Dow Healing Hands blessing, and it didn't really work right away, but it kicked in the next day, and she's like, "Oh wow, my shoulder feels better," and was telling my brother and other family members about it. But after a while, it is a little bit too far out there, so it's quickly forgotten, I would say, and they just don't know. People don't know quite how to compartmentalize it. I guess that's what it is.
Right. Yeah, I've experienced the same thing in different areas of my life. Um, Not necessarily with Dow Healing Hands, other things too. My mind, I just don't have something to hold it with. So,
Yes.
yeah. How do you help people come to grips with that? Or have you found a solution yet?
I have not. I'm still relatively new, and to be honest, I'm battling it every day. Just my mind. The I know it's there. I know it works, and the wisdom is powerful. Uh, but the reality in which we live in is just not very conducive to this kind of lifestyle. And
I
this,
really appreciate your transparency, Howie. Most people, I remember, what was it, Amway, and this is like 40 years ago. Um, but the slogan was "Fake it till you make it," and that's not the that's not how I want to live my life.
yeah,
And so I appreciate what you're sharing. That's important for our listeners also. Um, they need to know that even someone, see, who was it? Paul Fletcher, the Dow Center, one of the Dow Center leaders in Portland, Oregon. He says, I've got a magic wand on the end of my hand. And That's a little difficult for people to accept.
Yes, I love fall, and yes, it's absolutely true. We do have a magic wand, and it's incredible. It really is incredible when I can come to terms with it. And the only answer, I think, the only solution is to keep on using it every day, to bless as many people as possible, to spread what it is in an open-hearted way. I think I'm just there to help. I'm just there to serve their needs, however I can, whether it be with my Dow hands or just helping them with a website or anything. So I'm just there to serve.
So when you offer these Dow Hands blessings, um, is it one and done, or is this going to? I remember the chiropractic example of when I went to a chiropractor once, and I said, "Well, I got these issues going on," and he says, "Really? Um, okay, tell me some more about them." And I did. He says, "Well, this would probably take at least one and sometimes two visits, adjustments for 6 months." And I went, 6 months? He said, how many years have you had these issues? I said, well, I told you, like 15. And he went, well, 6 months compared to 15 years. Um, you know, what I can do with chiropractic is erase in 6 months 15 years of your experiences. And I went, whoa, I like that concept. It's like I could hold on to it. Then I could accept it.
Yes.
Otherwise, it was like, I'll be paying money for that long, and who knows if it's going to work or not.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, it helps to prepare in my case, the customer or the client, to manage their expectations, because although there have been lots of miracle healings that have occurred, it really depends on the person and their current situation. And if it was ready for it, then yes, a miracle healing can occur. But oftentimes that's not the case, and it's just about giving, I think, positive information. That's what it is, as much as possible. And once they're in that that zone of that field of positive information, that's where the healing occurs. And the more you're in it, the better it is for you, and the quicker you'll recover.
So, what has been the range in your experience of we can't call them treatments, that's a medical term, um, of call them, a blessing, um, 1 to 40, or um, what's your experience?
So what I've been doing is I've not been results oriented. I just want to share with them my positive energy and vibration frequency. And so I typically have a number of mostly relatives that I would visit once a week. And whenever I see them, I would offer them a blessing, just for whatever is ailing them at the moment. And it's just like you would take supplements, vitamins, right? You just continually take it, and
Right.
eventually your body will recover and get stronger and healthier. That's
Yeah,
how
I've got
it's.
my 3 different pills. Yeah,
Yes.
and I take them once a day.
Yes. So I think it's important to keep it going for the long haul. That's with anything good for your body.
So tonight, we have a person who fell today and has a I don't know how long the list is, but some pain. And would it be, since this may be the only time that you're going to be on the show for 6 months or a year, uh, we'll certainly invite you back. But how would you, if there's something that isn't reversed this evening, how what would you offer her?
I would continue to follow up with her, and just to keep an eye on her, see uh, if we can provide additional blessings, maybe a week apart or so, And it's mostly about the relationship. You're meeting these people who need help, and you don't want to just one and done them and just move on to the next person. That's not what we're here to just try to make connections in this world. We all feel almost alone in our human bodies. I want to try to break out of that and just feel at one with everyone. So I'd love to meet this person.
Well, let's ask our engineer to bring her on. Paula, welcome. This is
Hi.
Howie. And you may have heard, you were in the back room, but you probably could hear, you guys are 1,100 miles apart.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, Howie. How are things in LA?
We're good, right?
In
And
the-
sunny outside.
So I will step out of the way. And Howie, Paula, do your thing.
Okay. So Paula, I heard from Terry that you had actually taken a spill earlier today.
I did. I tripped on my way into my house up a set of brick steps, brick walkway.
Ouch.
Yeah, it it was really painful. I actually fall really well. I seem to make a habit of it. Not that I should be or want to be, but this time was significantly more painful than usual. There was blood and everything.
Yeesh. So what did you hurt?
The most significant injury, although it's not causing me that much pain, is the bottom of my left toe, where I tore a flap of skin about 2 inches long and a half an inch wide. Right in that tender spot, there's the toe pad, and then there's where it connects to that like little spot right in there.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry.
But it doesn't hurt. But it might tomorrow. I got this too. Right there.
Your elbow too.
Yeah. And actually, the last time I fell, which was a couple of weeks ago, same place got injured. I think heaven's trying to tell me something. Both of my knees are skinned up. Nothing really significant. Some bumps. And again, it doesn't. What's hurting the most now is my lower back on my left side, my pelvic area down through my knee. It's pretty much at a constant 4, and sometimes up to a 6 or 7, but it's really staying a pretty steady 4.
So it was from the fall as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, lower back pain sucks.
So Paula, for the benefit of those that are viewing that may not know what the 4 and the 7 relate to, that would be on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being low and 10 being shoot me.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Paula, may I offer you a Dow Healing Hands blessing?
I would be honored. Thank you, Howie.
Okay, thank you. So what I'll do is I'll do a silent invocation first, and then I'll let you know when it begins.
Okay. What do I need to do?
You can just close your eyes and just focus on your back pain. Really just sit there and feel into the pain that's just sitting there. And we don't want to push it away. We want to just embrace it. Okay? And then as we go through the blessing, really just focus in on that pain. And we're going to try to alleviate it remotely. Okay. I'm going to say silent invocation now. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, please offer Paula, dear Paula, a Dow Healing Hands blessing for her lower back pain that goes all the way down to her knees. As appropriate. Dow Healing Hands. Blessing begins now. I'm going to chant muscle language. Hey hong hong ashi wong yo hey yo 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 hey yo 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 hey yo 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 hey yo 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 hey yo hey ya na 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 hey yo hey ya ya hey yo hey yo hey ya 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 hey yo hey ya ya hey yo hey yo 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 hey ya hey yo hey ya 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 hey yo hey yo hey ya 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 hey yo hey yo hey ya ya hey yo na 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 hey yo hey ya 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 hey yo hey yo hey ya 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 hey yo hey yo hey ya ya hey yo. You want to continue silently now? Just keep feeling into the pain, embracing it. Picture your lower back enveloped in golden light, just caressing your lower back, filling every little crevice with beautiful golden light energy. Breathe in this energy. Breathe it in through your lower back. Receive it. Receive its love, its compassion. Ha. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dow Healing Hands blessing ends. How do you feel, Paula?
I feel actually it's a little more painful right in that area, but I've heard that that's as long as there's been some kind of change, it's improvement.
Yes.
During the blessing, I felt motion go down through my thigh and back up again, and now I'm just really feeling it in my left hip and back area. Thank you so much, Howie. Thank you.
Well, thank you, thank you. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Sometimes the energy that gets moving there, it needs to get out. right? So sometimes people feel more pain momentarily, but eventually that's a good sign because eventually it will subside, and that's when the real healing comes in. So uh, thank you so much for sharing this with me.
Thank you. It was
Nice
powerful.
it's really nice when there's feedback, isn't it? So, Paula, when I was watching, because I didn't have my eyes closed, it was really interesting that your smile just kept growing and your face started to glow. So, the other thing I wanted to ask was, um, I think you had something that was an area, a level of 4 pain at the beginning. Do you remember that?
I don't.
And something else was a 7 level.
Oh, just the area in from my back going down to my knee was a steady 4, that would go up to a 7
Got it.
sometimes.
So, what is it now?
I would say it's about a 5. It's hovering in the 4 5 area. Um, it's not a sharp pain. It's just a kind of a making me aware that it's there.
The physical body has the densest, slowest energy, vibration, whatever we think of that as, and so it always takes longer. I've watched some um, blessing recipients, and they would give a response partway through um, a program that was like 2 hours long, and they would drop from like a 7 down to a 4. But sometimes they'll notice they will break in toward the end of the program and say, "Oh, it's down to a 2 now," and sometimes all the way down to a 0 as the body acclimates or changes or heals, however we want to phrase that.
I'm really excited to see how this goes because I know it's not done, and I'm expecting.
So Howie has mentioned. I was really appreciating Howie because the theme of the 3 core features of this show. One of them is connectivity, inclusion, but also the connection part of it, and that you mentioned wanting to build a relationship and follow up.
Yes.
Paula, would it be acceptable if we gave Howie your telephone number?
Oh, absolutely.
Wonderful. Yes, I'd love to be able to follow up and offer you more blessings. I have a feeling that it will improve significantly over the coming days, and I'd love to, be able to follow up with that as well.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So, Paula, we both are wishing you the greatest and quickest transformation with your pain. And for our viewers, and our producer will probably take you both back off. But if you can stand around, we can chat after the show closes. Um, but for our viewers, what Howie has demonstrated, Dow Healing Hands, is a program that's taught literally around the world, not only in the 12 Master Shaw Dow Healing Centers through those, um, and some of those are virtual right now because they still haven't adapted from the COVID exclusionary process that we're all have adapted to or still adapting. Anyway, the Dow Healing Hands, and our producer will put the link to that up. If you're interested, if you're wondering, there's 3 levels of healing, of becoming a healer. One of them is to heal yourself. The second one is to heal others. Actually, we don't do it. The transmission comes to us. I remember when I received mine, the person who gave the transmission said, "Hold your hand up," like, okay, my hand, there's my hand. And then he said, "Transmission," really loudly. And it was so loud, I jumped. And then he said, "Now keep your eyes closed for a minute and just experience, receiving this transmission." Well, I didn't keep my eyes closed because there was something going on with my hand and I wanted to know what it was. And I'm looking at my hand, there's nothing visually different about my hand, but it felt like, Mickey Mouse glove hooked up to a healing tank. It felt like it was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was a very interesting experience for me. So when you receive any more, there's actually 3 separate trainings, 1 day long for the first 2 to become a self-healer, and the second one to receive a higher level transmission or a different kind of transmission maybe. And then the training on how do you offer healing to others. The third, and incidentally, these are a month apart. So there's going to be a healing through Portland, Oregon, the Dow Center here in Portland, on July the 31st. And then a month later, August 25th or something like that. So last Sunday of the month in August will be level 2. And then October, I think it's the 2nd and the 3rd, get away from Labor Day weekend or some weekend that way. Anyway, there'll be a 2-day training, and that's when you receive the ability to do more than just heal yourself and others. You get another transmission. It's really, to me, when I didn't even accept it all. It was just like, no, that can't be real. You get the ability to offer others financial blessings. You get the ability to offer home blessings, an office blessing. And if you're familiar with the 7 chakras, 7 major chakras, because there's more, you have the ability to send these Dow Healing Hands blessings. And that's why I say to send it, because we don't do it. Terry does, and Howie, we don't do any blessings. We're the channel for that Tao, that source energy comes through us and goes to whatever is being addressed. One of my specialties, I can't say it's my specialty. One of the things that happens to me, it's still like, wow, really? Is when I do either a home or a business blessing, business buildings even. They're really powerful when they happen through me. Other healings also happen, but that's one that's just, it stuns me sometimes. It's like, wow, Terry can't do that. So these 3 trainings are coming up, and the link I can't see. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm looking over to the right. Yeah, this link is in the chat room, and there may be, I think there's 5 people viewing right now. What we notice is that, like tonight, there's, I think, 5 live people watching. In 10 days, there are anywhere from 100 to 130 and more views. It surprised me when I found how many watchings there are of these. And the other thing I would offer to our viewers today and those who view in the future, wherever you are, whenever you watch, there's no time or space. These recordings will remain on that website, and you can go back. You can look at the previous 25, 26, 27. If you came in after the very beginning, one of them is one of my favorite because it's so unusual. We had a guest on the show who runs, and I can't remember the name of the program right now, but it's a library on a bicycle. They built a box on one of those long three-wheel bicycles, um, a big box on the front, and specialized. The lid opens up and has a sign. It's Street Book. That's the name of it, Street Books. And they go around to homeless communities or an area where the homeless are in that area. And after, the person I was speaking with mentioned that, well, we go back and after a year, we get to know these people. And it really changed my perception of who street people are and what they deal with too. Wow. Imagine not having a shower. It's not just having a house and a kitchen, but for me, it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Or, how are you going to wash your clothes? Very challenging. Yeah. So that's it. That's just about a wrap for this Tuesday. So I'm Terry McGill, your host for Who's Your Neighbor? And I welcome you back next week. And I welcome you to look through all the recordings that are on the website. And thank you for being here.